How do you become someone new when you still miss the person you used to be? We like to imagine reinvention as something beautiful, a fresh start, a new life, a better version of yourself. But nobody really talks about what comes before that, the loss. Because sometimes you don't choose to reinvent yourself. Life chooses for you. And few characters understand that better than Peter Parker. At the end of No Way Home, Peter doesn't simply lose a fight. He loses his entire life. His friends, the woman he loves, his mentor, his aunt, and eventually, even his identity. But what's interesting about Peter's story isn't that he loses everything. It's what he does after. Because when everything that once defined you disappears, what are you supposed to become? Maybe Spider-Man has an answer. Level 1. Accept that your old life is over. Peter Parker spends most of his life trying to protect the people he loves. And when the multiverse begins to collapse around him, he makes the ultimate sacrifice. He asks Dr. Strange to make the world forget Peter Parker ever existed. Not Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the person underneath the mask. And when the spell is complete, MJ doesn't remember him. Ned doesn't remember him. Happy doesn't remember him. The people who once knew everything about Peter suddenly know nothing. Imagine that. The person you love is still standing right in front of you. But to them, you're a stranger. Peter could tell MJ. He could walk back into her life. He could explain everything. He could try to bring his old world back. But he doesn't, because Peter realizes something painful. That life is over. And that's the first level of reinvention. Acceptance. Not liking what happened. Not pretending it doesn't hurt. Not convincing yourself that you never cared, just accepting that some chapters cannot be reopened. And that's difficult because when something ends, our first instinct is usually to negotiate with the past. Maybe I can fix it. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe I can become who I used to be again. But sometimes, the person you were belongs to a life that no longer exists. And you cannot build your future while constantly trying to resurrect your past. So before you ask, what should I become, you may have to accept who I was is gone. And once you accept that, you face something even harder, the emptiness. Level 2. Learn to sit with the emptiness. Peter walks into his new apartment, and there's almost nothing there. No family, no friends, no familiar voices, no one waiting for him. Just a mattress, a few belongings, and a city outside the window. Nothing is happening. And that's exactly the point, because this is what starting over actually looks like. Not a motivational montage, not an overnight transformation, not waking up one morning and suddenly becoming the best version of yourself. Sometimes, starting over is just sitting in a quiet room and realizing you don't recognize your own life anymore. And most people hate that feeling, so they try to escape it. They fill the silence. Another relationship, another distraction, another goal, another obsession. Anything that keeps them from asking the uncomfortable question, who am I now? But maybe the empty space isn't something you need to fill immediately. Maybe you need to sit in it. Because when everything familiar disappears, you finally get the chance to hear your own thoughts. And that can be terrifying, but it's also where reinvention begins. Because before you build a new identity, you have to become comfortable without one. Level 3. Stop waiting for someone to save you. For most of Peter's journey, he has someone to guide him, someone to help him, someone to tell him what to do next. Tony gives him a suit. The Avengers give him a place in something bigger. May gives him a home. MJ and Ned give him a sense of belonging. But after the spell, none of that is there. And for the first time, Peter has nobody to call. No mentor, no team, no one coming to rebuild his life for him. And that sounds tragic, but there's another way to look at it. It's freedom. Because eventually, reinvention requires you to stop waiting. Stop waiting for someone to notice you. Stop waiting for someone to motivate you. Stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Stop waiting for the perfect opportunity. And stop waiting for permission to become the person you want to be. Nobody is coming. And that's not always bad news. Sometimes that's the moment you finally realize you can begin. Level 4. Build with whatever you have. Peter doesn't have Stark technology anymore. He doesn't have the Avengers. He doesn't even have the people who knew him best. So what does he do? He builds with what he has. His hands, his experience, his abilities, his memories, and the lessons May left behind. That's it. And somehow, that's enough. Because we make starting over much harder than it needs to be. We tell ourselves we need the perfect plan, the perfect job, the perfect body, the perfect relationship, the perfect amount of money, the perfect moment. But Peter doesn't have any of that. He doesn't wait until everything is ready. He starts anyway. And maybe that's something we forget. You don't need everything to begin. You need something. One skill, one idea, one small habit, one decision, one step, then another, and another, until the person you're trying to become starts becoming visible. You don't rebuild your life all at once. You build it with whatever is still in your hands. Level 5. Redefine who you are. This is where reinvention becomes deeper, because changing your circumstances is one thing. Changing your identity is another. For years, Peter has been defined by the people around him. MJ's boyfriend, Ned's best friend, May's nephew, Tony's protege, an Avenger, Spider-Man. And then, one spell removes almost all of those connections. So, who is Peter Parker when nobody else can tell him who he is? That's the question reinvention forces every one of us to face. Who are you without the relationship? Who are you without the job? Who are you without status? Who are you without the approval? Who are you when nobody is watching? Because sometimes we spend years becoming the person other people expect us to be. And when those people disappear, we suddenly realize we don't know ourselves very well. Peter is given the rarest opportunity imaginable, a completely blank page. No one remembers the old version of him, so he has to decide what comes next. And maybe that's the hidden gift inside losing an old identity. You get to choose what deserves to come with you and what doesn't. Because the goal of reinventing yourself isn't to become someone everyone else needs. It's to become someone you can depend on, someone you trust, someone you respect, someone who can look at the life in front of them and say, I don't know what happens next, but I'll figure it out. And maybe that's why Peter's ending is so powerful, because he doesn't get the life he wanted. He doesn't get the girl. He doesn't get his old friends back. He doesn't get his old home. He doesn't get to return to the person he was. He gets something else, a chance to become someone new. And maybe that's what reinvention really is. It's not becoming a completely different person. It's not erasing your past. It's not pretending you don't hurt anymore. It's discovering what remains when everything that used to define you is gone. And then building from there. Peter Parker lost almost everything that made his life feel like home. But he didn't lose himself. He still had his hands, he still had his abilities, he still had his memories, he still had his responsibility. And most importantly, he still had a choice. The choice to get up, the choice to build again, the choice to keep moving. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe something in your life has ended and you're still standing inside the empty room it left behind. Maybe you're wondering who you're supposed to be now. You don't have to know yet. You don't need the whole plan. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to accept what is gone, sit with what remains, stop waiting for someone else to save you, and start building with whatever you still have. Because sometimes you don't get to go back to who you were. Maybe that's not the end of your story. Maybe it's the beginning.